Hello viewers and welcome to Aussiewood HardTalk Show, powered by KoollifeTV. My name is Victoria Mayuen, and before I proceed, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owner of this land, which we are meeting in today, the Wajak people of the Noongar Nation, and we would like to pay our respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and always worse and always will be Noongar Buja. Today with me, I have a very special guest with me in the studio. Is someone who has impacted the community significantly, and is someone that I have so much respect with. It's someone that I love dearly, and I call my sister from another mother. Very beautiful and Black Queen. This is someone who loves her community dearly and also very proud of her heritage. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Evia Aringo. Welcome.
Exclusive at KoollifeTV.com.
How are you today? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I am feeling really excited about being here actually. So thank you so much, KoollifeTV, for having me.
Yeah. So Evia, please kindly tell us about yourself and where you were born and how you ended up in Australia.
My name's Evia, 29. I can say that, 29. I was born in Uganda refugee camp in Kiradongo Biali. My parents were born in South Sudan in a small village called Pajok. So I identify as a South Sudanese by heritage. Yeah, I migrated here when I was 9, grew up in Brisbane. So we came straight from Uganda over to Brisbane. So all my schooling happened over in Brisbane. And my parents made the big decision to migrate to Australia was because at the time there was a huge conflict in terms of the war that was happening with the rebels in Uganda. And I'd like to really give a clear indication of how bad it was. We used to have to leave our home every night before 6 p.m. and go into the city in Kidgum and make sure that we were in this gated community that we would all sleep in with everybody else that was trying to take shelter and refuge at that gated apartment centre. And we would have to do that every single night. If you arrived there after 6 p.m, the gate was locked, you couldn't get in, and that was to shelter us from the rebels coming into town and attacking families and the locals and residents that lived there. So I think my parents predominantly feared for our safety and just making sure that we had good education. So yeah, we were able to be granted humanitarian visa to come along to Australia. So yeah.
What a blessing to be in this beautiful country and safe place.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Evia, how did you end up in this space, like as a politician and social activist and feminist? You know, how did you end up in this space?
I would like to say it's something that probably is. It's something that I wouldn't say I was born into it, but it sort of derives back when my dad was growing up in Uganda. Funny story, he got put in prison when he was trying to run for council as well in Uganda. So I would have been, no, I wasn't born yet at the time. So he spent, I think, a few weeks in prison because he was trying to make all these political changes. So I think taking that side from my dad, that's kind of shaped me a bit into who I am. And my dad's always been a very union man. So I grew up in a union sort of household. And so the whole fighting for the injustice and also the way we migrated from Uganda to here I think that kind of shaped who I am today in terms of me being an activist, because I do find myself, I'm quite passionate about making sure that I bring about really positive changes in impacts in our society and our community. And I think that's why my campaign motto is actually loud, proud, change maker, is because, I'm very proud and I'm very loud. And I am proud to be loud because I think, you know, as women, we should be able to use our voice to bring about positive changes. And so that's what I hope to do in our communities.
That's very inspiring. So there's always someone in the family somewhere that have started something and it's passed on. That's amazing. It's my first time actually learning that your dad, you know, was involved. So let's talk about Australian politics. Oh, what can you tell us? Like, I'm more of a community person. I don't know much about politics.
So Australian politics as a whole is very, very different to the politics we know at home. There's more democracy here. I think back at home, you would agree, in South Sudan, we've seen particularly, really, when it comes to election time, it's there's a lot of bloodshed. So I think one of the biggest, if I can talk about this on air, one of the biggest cultural shock I think a lot of immigrants actually would face if you've come from a war-torn country where there's a political issue is that when it comes to voting, voting for us back home is not by choice. You line up, and we've heard the stories where you know, there's guns being pointed to your head and you're being told to vote which way. Whereas Australian politics in itself, if you really want to be part of that change and you want to make the change, and you want to be able to have your voice heard in terms of have a say in policies, then you need to be able to, you get a say in who to vote. So you freely choose to vote, which has been a very big change, I think, for some of us who come from back home. But obviously I grew up in the system here. So it's something that I'm actually really grateful. So, and I always say, in order to be able to make that change within a political space, get out and vote. Actually attend, like if you want to volunteer for a particular candidate, feel free. Actually learn, get to know some of the policies and the commitments that they are standing for and supporting. In the quickest snapshot, that's Australian politics for you. But it's politics where it's the people. The people get to have a say. And I think that's what I'm trying to say, the difference from where we come from and Australian politics here.
Yeah, thank you, Evia. What made you believe that you're the right candidate for the city of Swan upcoming election?
That's actually a very good question. So I have been, for a while, I should say a couple of years, actually watching, engaging with local government in terms of watching, like going along to council meetings and seeing and sort of engaging myself, knowing what's happening in my, in my local government wards. But in terms of what has really made me put my hands up is a few things, but one of them is that we need change in City of Swan. That's where I am. And I realized I keep talking about this change, actually feel represented, because I had a look. Diversity is a big thing for me, and at the moment, our council does lack diversity. I know that might sound very brutal to some people, but I'm a big believer that that our council needs to reflect the diversity and the multiculturalism of our community. And so you find out if there's no diversity on council, then there are certain groups of people who feel like they're not represented. I actually was a bit afraid of putting my hands up at first because I was like, there's no one on council that looks like me, sounds like me. So I'm now going, you know what? I actually want to be that change. I want a little girl somewhere in Ellenbrook to actually say, you know what? If I want to make a change, I can do it. And it doesn't matter what I look like, it doesn't matter what I sound like, and it doesn't matter where I come from or where I was born or what I am. If she can do it, then I can do it. And I think that speaks volume. And so, you know, if I could set that example for the next generation coming up to, you know, so that they feel like their voices are heard, absolutely. And I think being young as well, being a young woman on council speaks a lot of volume, because young people are not represented in council. So I think some of the issues that we are facing in the city of Swan in terms of you know, community safety, when you look at the demographics of it, I think being a younger person, I can relate to the you know, to the younger generation. I can also relate to the ones older than me. So I'm actually at a really good age for it. So I am the right candidate for it. If I'm not, then I don't know who else is the right candidate. And that's not you know, being overly confident or anything, but that's just me saying that it's time. We need a council that is functional, that is accountable and transparent, and I am the right candidate to do that.
Definitely, and I do believe so as well. And I'm looking forward to and excited, and also definitely representation matters. So Evia, another question for you. If you win the election, what will be your top priorities?
If I win the upcoming October election, look, I am a big believer that our facilities always and parks are always in need. But one of the biggest things, because I've been outdoor knocking and talking to locals quite a lot, and community safety is a really big concern. So I'm heading into this election with lots and lots of conversations with locals about what community safety looks like to them. And I also am very interested in youth engagement. So I'm very proud to actually see that Ellenbrook has finally got the Ellenbrook Youth Centre, and so I'm hoping that we could, by being on council, and being a young person, we could look at actually more things for youth, so that our community actually grows up with the current demographics as well. But you know. My biggest thing right now is community safety, because nobody absolutely. So I used to work in aged care, and so a lot of the people I'm speaking to, a lot of the locals, they're elderly and they are quite concerned. I mean, nobody should have to worry about their safety. So I will be going into council with that at the forefront of my head. But in saying that as well, I'm very big on collaboration. Not just within local government itself, but all three levels of government, with community groups. So I think if council, once I get elected into council, if I win the election, I'm looking forward to councillors actually working together with everybody, irrespective of political parties, irrespective of, you know, where they're at or who they're aligned with, but council actually working together for the benefits of the residents. So that's my few things that I'm going into.
And those are the most important areas, like youth, safety, aged care, elder, in the community and staff and safety.
Yeah.
Very amazing. Evia, tell us about the challenges that you have faced in your life that has shaped you to be this amazing person that you are today.
Challenges. Life always has its own challenges, and I've obviously had my own fair share of it. And I guess one of the biggest one, which you would definitely relate to, is we're what we call hybrid cultures. So migrated here as a 9-year-old. I've got the South Sudanese culture. I've also got the Australian culture that I got to adapt to. So I think being a hybrid child, navigating the two has been a very big challenge in my life. But I think on more of a personal level, as what makes me be able to relate to people a lot more is some of my personal struggles that I've had. I mean, I'm very big on mental health, and that's because I've had my own mental health challenges myself. I battled depression as a teenager, so I'm able to relate to people in that regards. I've also had my own fair share of health. So, you know, I've spoken very openly on my council page recently actually about being a kidney transplant organ recipient. So, you know, that in itself brings its own challenges. And so I think that has made me very resilient, and that has also made me very compassionate. And it's made me want to give back to the community and be in the community as much as I can. And being on council is one of the ways that I can do that, because I'm a big believer. I know that there is somebody somewhere within our communities that's probably going through the same thing that that I have gone through and I'm still going through. And them being able to see a counsellor that has overcome it and is still going through it but can have such a positive outlook on life, you can pull somebody out of the wreckage by just your kindness and your story. So yeah, that's Definitely. What I tend to do with my challenges. Evia.
Okay, Evia, now enough of your professional side of Evia. Now let's talk personal. Are you ready to hard talk?
I am super excited. What do you want to know?
Okay.
Exclusive at KoollifeTV.com.
Okay, so who inspired you the most, and can you shout out to them?
Oh, who inspires me the most? I would have to say, I know a lot of people would be like, you know, every girl would say her mum, but I honestly would have to say my dad inspires me actually. Just with everything that he's endured and everything he's overcome. And I mean, when I talk of his story, he came here, he was a business owner back home, and he came here like no degree in Australia. So he then went off to study accounting. To a point, he went that hard to prove a point that education matters so much in our family that he went and got his master's in accounting, and now he's working as a support worker. But I would have to say it's my dad that really inspires me, and I am who I am because of actually the sacrifices that he's made.
Exclusive at KoollifeTV.com.
So shout out to my dad who's watching from Brisbane. So yeah, so he lives, he's back in Brisbane.
What's his name?
Solomon.
Solomon.
Shout out to my dad. Hi Dad. Thank you for all the sacrifice that you've made. Yeah, love you.
Yeah, you're definitely a daddy girl.
I am.
All right. So Evia, just reading your bio earlier, you're definitely a woman of multiple roles. So can you tell our audience what other roles and jobs that you're doing aside from, or you have done aside from being a politician?
So my background is originally a nurse. So I've worked as a nurse in both private and public hospitals, aged care, done it all. I've also worked, not only have I been a delegate, but I also worked for the union as well, as an aged care organiser, just to make sure that aged care workers are respected at work. Am the WM Multicultural Mental Health Ambassador for the Mental Health Foundation Australia. I'm also currently, I work as an electorate officer to a member of Parliament. I am also the 2023 African Awards Emerging Young Leader finalist, so we'll find out the results for that early September.
Exclusive at KoollifeTV.com.
So now, Evia, let's talk about personal again. Like, are you married? Do you have any children?
Personal questions.
Yeah,
no, not married yet. And don't have any kids yet, but yeah, very excited what the future might hold. So yeah.
Okay. So Evia, what's your favorite color?
Favorite color: purple.
Food,
Pasta.
fruits.
Oh, that's a hard one. Plum.
Very unusual. Different. Normally people say apple or banana.
I actually don't. Not a fan of pink lady apples. Love a good green apple. Hate pear.
You hate all my favorite fruits. So how about books and movies?
Favorite movie is The Notebook. If you really want to go old school, Fried Green Tomatoes. Okay. That's a movie. And favorite book. It's been a while since I've read, but I think the last book I read is Becoming by Michelle Obama.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be a good book. Yeah.
How about music?
Oh, that's very interesting. I love a good gospel music. But if outside of the gospel circle, look, I'm a bit of a Rick Price. Now it's funny because a lot of often when I say this, people go, "What do you mean?" Rick Price. He is an Australian country artist. Country music.
I'll check him out today.
And he's definitely not in our age category. So I grew up to discover him and love him. So.
Okay, it's amazing. I'll check him out today. I've never heard of him. So Evia, how do you balance like your mental health, on your general well-being, work, just in general life?
Thank you for the question. Actually. It is a struggle. Oh, I tell you what, it's a struggle. But you know, like you gotta figure out some sort of have a balance in order to really survive, don't you? And I find I journal a lot. So in the morning, first thought that comes in, I will journal that down. And at the end of the day, before I go to bed, I will also journal because sometimes I find there is a similarity in my first thought in the morning and how my day ended. But I reckon in order to balance out your work and your mental health and just your general well-being, find time for you and to actually do things that you love. We live in a very, very busy society, and we live in a society where if you are not constantly on the go, you are seen as you are unproductive. So I think finding the time out for yourself. I mean, I've seen a few TikToks where the mums are calling it me time, grabbing chocolate and going to lock themselves in the closet for like a good 10 minutes. Look, I'm a big advocate for that. If that honestly helps you balance everything out, go for it. Walking I love a good long walk. Obviously, that's starting to get a little bit more harder to do with campaign at the moment. Well, actually, door knocking is getting me to do that a lot. But I also love a good hike, getting friends out and just together and just go out for a hike and yeah, just be with the nature. And that's just how I do it. But you got to find something that you love to do, whether with friends, with family, yeah, or with your pets.
Thank you, Evia. That's very inspiring. What will your next 5 years look like?
My next 5 years, if I win council,
Yeah.
I'll be in there for the 4 years. So looking forward to a full term, and we'll see how that goes and the challenges that comes with it, but also the excitement that comes with it as well. But on a personal level, I'm looking forward to a lot of growth. So yeah, that's for me.
It's amazing. So Evia, now let's talk tech. iPhone or Google phone?
All the tech people are going to crucify me after this interview. That's a very hard one because they both have their own good and bad. Now, I'm currently an iPhone girly and I quite like an iPhone, so I'm going to be a little bit biased in terms of the software and in terms for work. Definitely an iPhone. Camera quality, that's another debate, but I'm going to go iPhone.
Okay. Windows laptop or Apple laptop?
Window.
Why?
I only like Apple products on a phone
Yeah.
or an iPad, not the computer. I just think the processor in Windows is a lot better. So I'd rather Windows all the way.
Okay. So let's talk cars now. What's your type of car? SUV or sport car? And why?
If you'd asked me this question maybe 2 years ago, I would have been like sports car. Now SUV, particularly I love a good RAV4. Yeah.
Exclusive at KoollifeTV.com.
Thank you so much for coming. We've come to the end of the show. Is there anything that you wanted to say to our audience, your supporters, family and friends, and the Koollife TV and the team?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been super awesome to come out today and just have a chat with everybody. To everyone who's been sharing, commenting, liking, literally just being on the phone, sending me messages, I just want to say thank you so much. I do see all your messages and I will get to them. But for everyone who's been doing the job of being out on the doors with me as well, my volunteers, thank you so much. Friends and family, thank you for all your love and your support. It's not been easy, but you've handled it with so much grace. And to Koollife audience who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. The only advice I now will leave with everybody is the importance of being politically engaged and aware. It is so important for you to be engaged in your local branch, in your communities, and to be engaged in your council as well, your local council. So that's where the decisions are made, and you definitely want to be on the decision making table. So I would encourage you, if you don't know any of the councillors around your area, make sure you jump online and you have a look or check out your local council page. Other than that, thank you so much for having me. It's been fantastic.
Thank you, Evia. It has been an honor to have you in our show. We wish you all the best and many more to come, and my God continue, please. hello viewers. We've come to the end of our show. Thank you, Evia, for coming to Aussiewood HardTalk. I hope those questions were not too hard for you, and we hope we could see you back after the election with the outcome. We wish you all the best.
Exclusive at KoollifeTV.com.
To the viewers, if you have any business, advertise, event or partnership, sponsors, please let us know. Get in contact with us, and please don't forget to follow, like and subscribe to our channel. My name is Victoria Mayuen, your host. Bye for now. That's it. But guess what?